Thank you, Chairman Durbin, and welcome to the committee, Director Ray. Thank you for your service to the people of America. This committee has a constitutional obligation to ensure that the FBI complies with the laws that we write and execute those laws according to our intent. In performance of our constitutional duties, we often seek answers and records from the FBI. And if Congress finds potential wrongdoing, we have an obligation to the American people to make that public. The public's business ought to be public. Transparency brings accountability. Just last week, the Justice Department failed yet again to be transparent. The department failed to provide underlying information to support their assumptions that a jury would not convict FBI agents for botching the Nasser investigation. This is beyond unacceptable. I've also asked the FBI about the steps it's taken to investigate Afghan evacuees that are considered significant security concerns. Senator Portman and Inhofe have done exactly the same thing. The FBI won't even tell Congress which field offices are responsible for these security matters. How does that make our communities any safer? Furthermore, based on the killing of al-Qaeda's leader this week, it appears that terrorist groups are still using Afghanistan, as many of us, including you, Director Ray, have feared. The FBI must provide Congress concrete information about the national security and criminal risk of our communities, what they may face with respect to evacuees that weren't vetted properly. As we all see, violence is a very major problem in America today, with rates of violent crime skyrocketing across the country. The start of this violent crime wave began in 2020, as police nationwide were pulled off the streets. Some of the main causes of this rise in violent crime are anti-police rhetoric, de-policing efforts, progressive prosecution, and bail reform. This crisis in policing is happening at the same time the progressive prosecutors refuse to hold violent criminals accountable for their crimes. Witness after witness in this committee has told us that bail reform movement helps to release violent criminals who are arrested so that they can go commit more crimes. Congress must treat violent crime as a top priority. So last week, I introduced a bill entitled Combating Violent and Dangerous Crime Act. The bill contains common sense proposals to reduce the spike in violent crime in the nation, proposals that would expand federal prosecution options for offenses like murder, carjacking, bank robbery, and assault of police officers. The Justice Department and the FBI must also make violent crime a top priority. However, instead of doing so, it seems like the Biden Justice Department, the FBI, have focused on intimidating parents who are concerned about how schools treat their children. For example, it's been reported that the FBI has labeled parents with threat tags to track and investigate them. Contributing to the crime wave, this administration's failure to manage the border has been a drug trafficker's dream. What is the result? Well, in 2021, we had over 100,000 drug overdoses. Fentanyl crossing that border is about 70% of that 100,000. Thanks to our open borders, drug traffickers are poisoning our streets, killing our children, and they're trafficking innocent victims with reckless abandon. This administration is failing the people by not securing the southern border. More recently, my colleagues have heard me on the issue of political bias infecting the FBI decision-making process. As Director Wray is aware, multiple Justice Department whistleblowers have approached my office about that political bias. Whistleblowers are patriots, and they also have to have lots of guts, and most of them do. According to whistleblowers, the FBI opened an investigation on the Trump campaign and its advisors. The opening memo for this Trump investigation is based in a substantial part on liberal news reporting. It's also based on information derived from left-wing nonprofit. Based on allegations, Director Wray and Attorney General Garland reviewed the memo and approved a full investigation. Now, as I've said in my letter, if the FBI is going to open an investigation, you have to do it the right way. It appears that the right way was not done. So, let's contrast this investigation with what the FBI has done with allegedly criminal information received from numerous sources related to Hunter Biden. Simply put, the FBI shut down investigative activity. In August of 2020, the FBI Supervisory Intelligence Analyst opened an assessment. This August 2020 assessment served as a vehicle by which the FBI headquarters team falsely labeled Hunter Biden information as you-know-what disinformation. As just one example, to make my concern clear, in October 2020, an avenue of reporting on Hunter Biden was ordered closed. That Hunter Biden information related to potential criminal activity. According to whistleblowers, the reporting was either verified or verifiable via criminal search warrants. But it was shut down on the basis of it being at risk of disinformation. Based on allegations, the evidence didn't support that finding. So let's look at both of these fact patterns. On the one hand, the FBI greenlit a full investigation into Trump based on liberal news articles and information derived from liberal nonprofits. On the other hand, the FBI closed investigative activities and sources that provided verified or verifiable reporting on Hunter Biden. Director Wray, you'll have to explain to the committee and to the country how you'll manage this mess and how you'll clean house. In conclusion, I'm going to make one last point. In August 2020, and I hope my colleagues will pay attention to this timeline. In August 2020, Senator Johnson and I received an unsolicited and unnecessary briefing from the FBI. Now, this briefing reportedly related to our Biden investigation, but in the end, the briefing had nothing to do with it. The briefing was instituted after the FBI received pressure from my Democrat colleagues to do just that. The content of that briefing were later leaked in order to falsely paint the Grassley Johnson investigation as advancing you-know-what, Russian disinformation. That briefing was held the very same month the FBI opened the assessment that was used to label Hunter Biden's information as you-know-what, disinformation. Considering the timing of these events, the timing draws very serious concern. So I'm asking you, Director Wray, simply put, the FBI's credibility is on the line, as the principles that help found and sustain our great nation are also on the line. Thank you.